My name is Fred Young. I'm the CEO of Forest City Gear in Roscoe, Illinois. Our company was started by my parents, Stetler and Evelyn Young, in 1955 when I was 11 years old, and I started running the place in 1968, and that's now 55 years ago since they started, and I've been producing gears ever since. We manufacture very high accuracy gears, up to 25 inches in diameter, for aerospace, military, medical, high performance racing vehicles, including every car in the recent Indy 500 field. And also we had the pleasure of doing the gears for the America's Cup winning BMW Oracle racing yacht, which finally brought back the America's Cup trophy to the United States. And we also do fluid pump gears, we do recreational vehicle steering worm gears, and even internal helical crowned gears, something very, very unusual for world-class fishing reels. Among our more notable projects are the wheel drives for Spirit and Opportunity, which was only supposed to last 90 days, but I'm happy to say and proud to say that the gears haven't given out. They're still doing their thing. A couple of the bearings have failed and they now have to drive them in reverse, but they're going strong. And next year you can look for us on all of the actuators in the wheel drives in the new Rover vehicle, which will be going up in the fall of 2011, and I believe the name is Curiosity. We employ, I had down here 72, but we're growing quite steadily, and as of just a few days ago, I think we're now up to 75, in a 30,000 square foot facility, and we've been there for about 40 years, utilizing 131 machine tools, primarily gear cutting, blanking, gear shaping, gear and thread grinding, as well as secondary work in cylindrical, OD, ID grinding, milling, drilling, tapping, bore honing, turning equipment, cutter grinders, laser marking, deburring, and tumbling, just to name some of them. And part of our strategy has been to continue to grow, to become vertically integrated, to do more things in-house. Always the challenge of buying things on the outside, getting it in a timely fashion, getting it at the quality that you want, and getting it at the price you need it. So there's been a lot of pressure for us to grow internally. Over the last 30 some odd years, more than 30 years, we have reinvested 25 to 40% of our gross sales each year back into new equipment. Let me repeat that, just in case you didn't really pick up on that. Over the last 30 years, we have reinvested 25 to 40% of our total sales each year back into new equipment. Why did we do that? Well, higher quality, more productivity, new technology that allows us to do stuff that the other folks can't do. And then when you bring in a customer and he sees all brand new toys, there's no doubt in his mind. With that boast, I look around this audience and I suspect some of you may find that statement, that boast, braggadocio if you will, hard to believe. Let me explain quickly that we try to resell some of our current equipment. We don't have enough room physically to keep expanding at 25 to 40% reinvestment every year. And while I would like to think we had enough money to continually do that, we actually have to cheat and sell some of the old stuff so that we can recapture some cash and make room for the new stuff. Well, we've done quite well at selling old equipment. Our last foray in buying completed about a year and a half ago, just before the bottom dropped out, was we bought $6 million worth of new equipment over a span of about 14 to 18 months. And we're still digesting. It's like the python that swallows the pig, and you see that big bulge in the belly. That new equipment has really kept us at the leader of the pack for many, many, many years. And that was truly remarkable. $6 million worth of new equipment on a little less than $11 million in sales. I doubt that there's very many manufacturing companies in the United States that would be able to make any sort of boast or claim like that. I've been attending IMTS every time since the 60s. And of course, over those many years, I've literally looked at thousands of different machine tools, and I assure you, I've heard almost a like number of sales pitches, all touting the merits of every machine that I looked at. During my tenure as president of Forest City Gear and now as CEO, I've had to evaluate and compare many competing machines in a variety of machining disciplines, from honing, grinding, tumbling, cutter sharpening, hobbing and shaping of gear teeth, gear and thread grinding, milling, drilling, churning, as well as the most sophisticated metrology devices that are available. Most of the choices turned out pretty well, save for a handful. And along the way, I've learned a few lessons. Perhaps one of the first is defining in my own mind what I really need as far as envelope size, tolerance, quality, and the options that are available on those machines. The second step is to discover what the options are. I believe in buying the cheesecake with all the fruit on it, and I don't want the plain Jane version. For a number of years, I've been bringing many of my key people, some of whom are here in the audience this afternoon, including department heads, management team members, quality control specialists, and even plant floor operators to help evaluate the many fine machines displayed here from all over the world, focusing primarily, initially at least, on gear making and ancillary equipment. After their input, I try to establish a spreadsheet which compares the size and capabilities both at the largest piece and the smallest piece the machine will accommodate, as well as what quality the equipment will produce. One common error I've encountered over the years is the purchasers who try to cover the whole range or spectrum of parts they produce with just one machine. That can force you to buy a machine that may not be efficient at one end or the other end of your time. If you're doing screw machine work that's 20 millimeters in diameter, and you're not going to get a 24 millimeter diameter piece in there, but the machine at the same time might not be very efficient at doing something that's 5 millimeters in diameter. So you always try to match that machine to the jobs that you have before it. And in fact, the rule of thumb that I use, that it's more prudent to purchase a machine which is efficient for the middle 80% of your work, and another, if you have to have one for bigger or smaller work, purchase another one for the outlier production. Or possibly it might be wiser for you to subcontract that work out of house to somebody else who's got the proper equipment. Having established the criteria, I go on to differentiating the equipment by physical and mechanical differences and the internal mechanisms used to develop a robust and repeatable product at the highest practical quality level, always higher than the fussiest part that I currently make or need to make. Over these many years, as a result, I have seen quality demands escalate beyond what I imagined was ever possible. And I expect those quantum leaps to continue. By the way, we happen to make gears for about 75 other gear companies. So I'm totally convinced that they do nothing other than look around every day for god-awfulest, nastiest job, and they say, let's send it to Forest City Gear and see if that'll keep those guys out of our hair for a little bit longer. But I digress. With all the expertise available at every booth here at IMTS, all of it knowledgeable about what they have done for world-class manufacturers, it's easy to dig into details about technology comparison to fill in all the open boxes in that spreadsheet. The early evaluation always involves sorting out the top 5 competitors. Well, maybe it's 6 or maybe it's 4. But anyway, you want to try to wean it down a little bit. Those who best satisfy your criteria. With all due respect to my friends, the equipment makers, in the machine tool community, you will not find Forest City Gear to be an exclusive shop for any brand. And there's a reason for that. I often have compared a variety of different machines over the years and discovered that each manufacturer has something a little different that they offer that maybe gives them an advantage in one area or another. Over these many years, I've tried to explore all of those different equipment makers, evaluating a variety of equipment in our own factory, touring other similar gear manufacturers all over the world, from Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, China, and even countries in European Union and South America as well.